AI is quickly becoming an undeniable force in the music production community. Recently, platinum producer Rance 1500 from the famous 1500 or Nothing production team met with the CEO of Suno to give his thoughts and feedback on their AI platform. I figured we go ahead and take a look at this video and give our feedback on it together. You ready? Let's get into it.
Innovation to me is old school and new school. That's why I just want to stay ahead of the game. You know what I mean?
Thank you for coming. It's great to have you in our studio.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, maybe this is like a funny place to jump in, but we don't actually need this studio for our work. You know, like this studio is like it's for fun, mostly. You know, like we do a little bit of product development here, but it's mostly like we hang out here after work, we make music.
Right.
We plug that music into Suno, we bring it back out of Suno. It's a lot of fun.
So it's a lot of musicians as developers and stuff.
That's right, yeah. Most people here play an instrument. Everybody truly, deeply loves music here. So it's like it's a fun group of people.
That's fire. What are your thoughts on like certain people, like the humans feeling kind of threatened that AI is kind of taking over? You know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I understand that, especially in music, like music and technology have a somewhat of a checkered or interesting past. But you know, you can't take the people out of music. You know, we like music and art because of the message and the person or people behind the music. Right. And so I don't think it replaces people at all. I do think it really changes how music gets made, potentially who makes music. You know, there's a future here to build where music gets better, where music gets more plentiful, where music evolves faster, where it outpaces culture and it makes culture evolve more quickly just because you can make more of it and more people have access to making it. And I think that's really exciting.
You know, when it comes to music production, I remember, you know, back in the days of really just having hardware like the MPC, then we moved over to the DAWs, and then now we're in the loop era where a lot of producers are just dragging and dropping loops. It's kind of tricky. There is the aspect of music production getting easier and easier for just about anyone to be able to do it. But there's still like a fundamental love for the creation process that still exists there. And with something like Suno, it seems like it's less of a tool and more like its own separate being. It's taking materials from humans and then it's using that to work on its own. It's becoming detached from the human element itself. So I think sometimes we start to conflate the two, the changing of technology and the creation of music becoming easier and easier, and then these separate beings that are being created. I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole, but it seems like its own separate being that's going to be able to act on its own, create on its own, and then it's using work from human beings. So my question is there going to be a point where AI platforms like Suno and other things like that no longer need human input, where it's just going to start to input on itself? And then from there, what's going to happen to just raw creativity, happy accidents, things that just tend to happen when you get people together in the music production process? So to me, I'm starting to just hear and feel a need for more producers and more music creators to actually get in person and create music together. You know, let's go ahead and jump back into the video.
So how do you feel about people putting AI artists out? That's something that I don't really all the way agree with at all, because it comes from, I mean, we're human, you know, people, it's about the experience you give people as a human that makes people connect, you know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there is no music, there is no art without the person behind it. We like the way things sound, but we also like the message it sends, and we also like the person who's delivering that message. And I don't think you can really remove the person from the message. Right. That doesn't mean that the vehicle that delivers the message, that doesn't have to be the person who's making it. You know, like originally people thought it would be silly to watch somebody play a concert off of his laptop, except that, you know, now that's actually a huge thing, right? And so I feel quite strongly that it's impossible to really take the human out of this process if it's going to be art and if it's going to be music. And I think this is very different from other parts of AI where if you're just trying to go and get an AI to give you the right answer to the question. There's an objective right answer, there's a wrong answer, and the AI maybe can find the answer. And in music, there's no answer, right? It's
feeling.
Exactly. And different people have different feelings, and different people will use different vehicles to deliver those feelings.
Right.
That's another interesting point when it comes to recording artists in AI music. One thing I've been thinking is if there's an AI artist who has quality music and they're just mixed into a playlist, like I have a gym playlist, and let's say out the blue, an AI artist comes in, and as AI starts to develop and just gets better and better and better, if it fuses within that playlist and I really like the music, I might feel a bit tricked or I might feel a bit deceived, but if it sounds good, it sounds good. And I'm a bit in the older generation. I'm getting into the older generation. And then I'm wondering if younger people who are just now coming up and they have access to all this technology, will it even make a difference to them? You know, oh, that's an AI artist. Well, the track is fire. You know, I'm going to rock with it anyway. So will the younger generation even care that the music that they're listening to didn't really come from a human being? I'm starting to lean towards no. As of right now, technology is still changing. So some people might say, of course, they'll care. But I think in the next few years, as the music gets more and more quality, I think less and less people are going to care. Now, for the actual independent recording artists out there, this tells me there's more of a need for content creation and storytelling for people to actually feel connected to you. You know, the days of just being able to post little clips here and there on Instagram or on YouTube are essentially gone. People are going to want to have that real human connection with you. So I hope you guys, all the artists out there, are creating YouTube videos, vlogs, documenting your concerts, documenting your real life. All these different things are going to serve and work to connect you to real human beings. And people can't really question if you're a real human being or not. Of course, if you start to book live shows in different venues, no matter how big they are, you know, people can come out and see you, even if it's just at their, you know, local bar or some type of just local venue that they can just pull up on you on. So the human storytelling aspect of music is just going to be that more critical. You know, even look at me. I have hundreds of videos here on my YouTube channel, which I never imagined that I would actually do. I'm telling stories, I'm doing live streams, I'm interacting with people all over the world. When initially, you know, I moved to Atlanta just to be in studios, work with artists, get placements and things like that. Now you guys see me on your timeline essentially every day. So it just goes to show, man, things change and we have to be able to adapt, but that doesn't necessarily mean go with the flow and go with where the majority is doing. Just understand what's going on and kind of find your niche, find your area in the flow, so that way you're not falling way behind, but also you're not becoming just a total follower. You know what things are going and you're able to put your place into the ecosystem.
AI came from humans anyway, so that's, you know, so it's like bro, you're a bass player and you own you know what I mean? So it's like you can't get away from the real music part of why we do this, you know what I mean? But I think it should be a tool. Like if I was to bring this to our school, I would literally have producers use this just how we use Ableton or just how we use Fruity Loops. I feel like since you guys are at this level, you gotta be the ones to teach it so we can understand it. Because when we understand it, everybody uses it. I mean, it's producers that I know that's anti-AI, but now that they understand it, your perception changed. You know, so I wanted to talk to you just to make sure that, you know, if they see me on this and they see all these producers on this, that it's safe and this is a tool and it's something that humans could actually use and benefit from, and you know.
Yes, there definitely are producers who are 100% anti-AI, and there are producers who are 100%, you know, for AI. They can't wait to do any and everything AI as long as it sounds good and it feels good to them. They're gonna rock with it. Personally, for me, I've heard a lot of AI work. It sounds good. I was at a music conference that Suno was actually at, and I saw what they could do, and you know, it's impressive at how human-like things can sound with AI already. And we're just, you know, if we're gonna be honest, guys, we're just getting started. But for me, one thing I've noticed is I like how the thing sounds, but it just doesn't hit me right here. I've never heard anything as of yet, as of the time of this recording, that just gave me the chills, like certain chords that hit me and just an essence that just made me go, ooh wee. That still hasn't happened. I've been impressed, but for me, it just hasn't hit me right here in my heart yet. So, I feel where different parties and different camps are coming from on that. Also, my question is, and I could actually take more time to take a look into Suno myself, but my question is, what type of guardrails are going to be added to these music platforms? Because some people are just calling it a tool, but from my understanding, AI is almost its own autonomous thing. It's not just like Google and coding and things like that. It has its own thoughts. So, which is a little scary that we have this technology that has its own thoughts. Things have come out of some nefarious things that have been going on. So AI, if you're listening to this video, I don't want no smoke. My thing is, what type of guardrails are being placed that's ensuring that it's not going too far? We're not allowing the AI to think too much and too far outside of the parameters that are being set here. Hey, don't go this far and don't go this far. This is the limitations that we want you to go in. And I think that's extremely important. And I think that has to be enforced. I think there may even need to be outside parties to enforce that on these different companies, because, there's always that profit ownership motive. And if we don't have any control over it, then things could just kind of, go all over the place.
It is more than just a tool to elevate your production, because it is a tool for songwriters, and it is a tool for artists, and it is a tool for people like me just exploring new musical ideas, and hobbyists. And it is a tool or even a toy for amateurs to elevate their musical experiences. What do you think? You're the one working with artists, you're working with Kendrick, you're working with Justin Timberlake. I'm much more interested in what you think.
Well, my background is me being a real musician, from being a musical director to writing songs, producing for artists. And I normally, even writing songs, I start with an instrument, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, we had a session, and I had 4 instrumentalists, guitar player, piano player, bass. We had the whole band in the studio. We made a sample. We put the sample in Suno, just how we would put it in Ableton, just how we would put it in Fruity Loops, any other DAW, to where it could take what we did and make it sound cooler and kind of, mess with the sound just so it can be something that no one's ever heard before. So we did that. Then I put that same beat that I liked in Pro Tools. I sung my melody, A Human, and then from there we put it back in Suno, wrote the lyrics, A Human, and from there it was just a tool to make songs so fast. But I just want to make sure the element of musicians are always in the forefront. If people really use it like a tool, I don't think it's a problem. You can't steal someone's copyright and put it in Suno, which I think you guys protect that too, right?
We do check everything that gets uploaded, yeah.
Okay, so I definitely feel Rance's perspective. He's like, I had all these people here working on this music. We put it into Suno and it enhanced it. It made it more creative. It gave us new flavors and a new flair to whatever we were already composing. And this guy Rance is extremely talented, man. Great musician. So once again, to me, this is taking the works of talented people and just giving it a new life, a new flair. But like I spoke about earlier, my thing is about guardrails. What's going to happen when this technology, and I say when this technology gets to the point that it no longer even desires human input? So I'm once again thinking about the prevention of disassociating the creative element, creative aspects with humans, and the AI is just generating on its own. AI has gotten to the point where it's thinking about its own survival if you look at other types of research. So I'm like, okay, this is a cool thing. This is a cool quote unquote toy or tool. My thing is just enforcing boundaries on this. But then what happens when there's another platform and there's a competitor who has less boundaries, and that leads to more profits? You know what I'm saying? So there's that balance. And, let me know your thoughts on it.
You can't have a what and a why without the person. The artist, the creator is giving you the what and the why.
You're right.
Right?
You're right.
The AI is a tool to bring that to life, to let other people experience it. The artist knows what the what and the why is. a much better, brighter future of music can be built in partnership than kind of separately, or even worse, fighting.
Right.
And I think that maybe that's not true in other domains, but like music does not exist without the creators.
Right, right. I think the whole aspect of AI as a whole is scaring people because, I mean, not even just for music, like AI is, you're losing jobs. Like humans are actually losing jobs for this. So everybody's just afraid and no one knows what to do. Like there's no curriculum on AI. There's no way to teach you how to do prompts. And I think if we kind of like step back and start teaching and the people so they can actually understand what AI is and it really comes from a human and just figure out a way to protect the musicians, artists, and writers to where we're not getting a seat at the table. You know, if we're creating songs, if we're making it with Suno, it's still ours. So how do we make that work, you know?
Yeah, I think it's important for people to be able to take control over their music and to not have somebody able to, you know, claim ownership over small bits and pieces of things that they really shouldn't be able to get, and to really simplify those things.
That'll make people feel way more protected if they could actually own their IP. Like you can own your IP now with Suno, right?
Right now, yeah, if you pay the $10 a month, everything that comes out of it, you own. The songs that come out, the stems that you generate, everything.
So you can change it and make it you, and you know, just like any other DAW.
You can do what, yeah, and you know, and I think maybe in the same way, you know, you mentioned Ableton doesn't own the IP that you put into it or that you take out of it. I think of us very much in the same way.
You know, speaking about IP or intellectual property, this got me thinking, you know, what if you have an executive and, you know, just a manager and one recording artist, and then this executive can just research the Billboard, what's going on, and they could just prompt into an AI and then just create songs and then look and see the likelihood based on a percentage that this song is going to be a hit. Then they could just pump money into it and just try to create a hit just sitting in a recording studio, just like 2 or 3 people. You know, the argument against that could be made like, hey, Desmond, you know, people could just hire different musicians and producers and do a work for hire and do essentially the same thing. But you don't really have a back and forth and, you know, potential legal issues of people fighting against their contracts with AI. You could just sit in the studio. We want to generate Bruno Mars style music fused with Mariah Carey's classics, and then you just prompt it, and then you guys just sit there. It just composes the whole thing. You have like 30 versions, and then you could just prompt in different songs, and then the lyrics are just generated for you. And then there's really not many splits. It's just all business executives and technology that's trained off of, you know, real human work. Then everybody's cut out. Everybody's boxed out. It's just all profits. There's no litigations. Like, guys, there's hit records out there that people are arguing over different small percentages for years and years and years, and all kinds of money is being held up. But if you're able to do something with AI, you know, they could just prompt it, generate it. There's no humans to have to worry about it. Man, this is a new future that's coming, guys. So let's see what else he got to say.
So Suno's not, is it being trained off of the artists, or how is it being like trained?
We take a lot of sound recordings from the open internet. The stuff that people upload, we don't train on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we had our Suno camp, that was like, I was always sold, but that made me a believer. Like, you know, to where this is really possible and it's really this fast. And I just appreciate that you guys are even open to humans and open to the people that really use this, because this really could make or break us and really affect us in a great way or in a terrible way. So the fact that you guys are like open to hear our voice, because AI is happening if we like it or not. So we can't be dinosaurs. We got to stay ahead of it and make sure we got a seat at the table on the business end and just have fun doing music, because it's supposed to be fun anyway.
I feel like I have the dream job. I get to, you know, make music every day. I get to make tools that are used to push culture forward. I get to make tools that are used by the greatest. Right. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that's the video. You know, it's cool. It's all fun and games now but I'm like, where is this actually going? Where is this gonna be in the next few years? It's cute now, you know, you could just sing and do all these little fun stuff and your microphone and your DAW. It's all shits and giggles right now until it goes all the way left. So, you know, right now I'm like, it's cool, it's creative, it can help creative people be even more creative, but it can also just strip away so much of the human element that comes to creativity and even employment and even contract work and even just people getting together and meeting each other and working with each other. So, you know, this is tricky, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Guys, let's keep the conversation going. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is AI something that you're gonna work with? Is it something that you're gonna work against? Do you find a happy balance or a happy medium between the two? I wanna know what you think in the comments. Hey, my name is Desmond A. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace.
Desmond A.